itself a major award. It's nationally recognized. Nobody else in the country is doing bedside storytelling in any of the hospitals, right, Deborah?
Not the way we are.
Not the way we are, but it's been a very, very popular thing. Ballad is really happy with that, and we volunteer there, but we have some tellers who do more than volunteer. And the lady I'm going to introduce you to in just a moment is the first professional storyteller at Ballad Hospital. And Betty Ann Pulaha is, we're proud of her. She did a lot of volunteering and did things, but she also traveled on her break when we had our break from storytelling, and she's going to tell us a story about something that happened to her on the break. So please welcome her once more time. Betty Ann.
So I tell a lot of stories during the week, for 7 hours a week, stories a week. So I'm not going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me over the break when I didn't see you guys for a long time. I live in an eclectic neighborhood. There's big houses and small. Mine's small. There's a big house next to me and it's empty. It's been empty for a year and it's really starting to bother me. It belonged to Bea Miller. She was my neighbor. She was 90. She loved that house and she cared for it. She had people to bring in the mulch and manicure the lawn. She even had a florist come and put up her Christmas decorations, except that wreath and that light post and everything is kind of looking kind of really sad now, and the bushes are all overgrown, and I feel really bad because of the way she died. She was one of those ladies that fell and couldn't get up. They think she fell down the steps and hit her head on the marble foyer, and the cleaning lady found her, but it was a couple days later. And the cleaning lady ran out of the house screaming, and I happened to be outside, and I went over, and I wish I hadn't. It didn't smell very good. So we called the authorities, and they took care of it. But now a year is going by, and the house is still empty. You know, Bea moved in there right when she got married. And they had hopes and dreams. They even put additions on the house, 2 little additions for the children, but the children never came. And her husband did well in business. He made money. And she didn't have anybody to spend it on except herself. And she took up stamp collecting first. And she got into that. And then she got into coin collecting. And then she was decorating her house, so she got into antiques, oriental carpets and gold chandeliers and paintings by, famous artists. She even had a small gun collection. Yeah. And anyway, that was Bea. She was my neighbor, and now all I have is an empty house next door. Well, after Christmas, I think it was the night of our JSG party. I don't do well at parties. I eat all kinds of weird things, and I don't sleep well. And I woke up because there was a light flashing in my bedroom window, and it was going blink, 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 pause, blink, 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 pause. And I thought, what in the world is that? I got up and I looked out the window, and it was the light in Bea's attic. Blink, 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 pause. Blink, 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 pause. I thought about waking up my husband, and I decided that wasn't a good idea. So I went into the dining room, and I can see our backyards, and there's a light in the alley, and it kind of lights, it's on the corner, it lights up my yard, but her yard is kind of in shadows, and I thought I saw figures in her yard. It either was a bear, or else it was a big burly person, and they may have been carrying something, and I thought, oh, what did I eat? So I went back to bed. But the next day I got up, and I decided I'd go over there and check out the place, because I hadn't in months. Nobody else had either. And I went in the backyard and I saw the cellar door. She had steps that went down to the basement. It was open, just about 2 inches, wide open. And you know, I wasn't born yesterday. I watched all those movies where the blonde girl goes in the cave or goes, no, I wasn't doing that. I went home and called the authorities, and they said they would come out, and they took their time, and the officer came out and he checked the front door, it was locked, and the back door, it was locked, and the cellar door was locked. And I said, well, there was some like big burly people maybe in the backyard, and they're like, he said, ma'am, what did you have to eat before you went to bed? Which is exactly what my husband said when I told him. I was mad. Did I dream it? A couple nights later, I woke up, blink, 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 pause. I went to the dining room window. I saw the burly figures. I said, I need proof. I need proof, right? I grabbed my phone and I ran outside in my pajamas, which was a mistake, but I ran outside, I went behind a tree, and I took pictures of those burly men in those boxes or whatever they were carrying. But I'm no Nancy Drew. The flash on my camera was going off. And all of a sudden, somebody got a hold of me and was dragging me, and I tried to wring his hands away from my face. I dropped my phone. They dragged me, and they threw me in the cellar of Dot's house, but I still couldn't see, and I put me in what I thought was a room, but I wasn't, you know, I didn't know yet, and it smelled awful, and it was a familiar smell, but it smelled so bad and so strong, and I was there, I was really scared, and then I felt something furry on my leg, and I'm, oh my God, but, you know, there was nothing to do but calm down, and I realized that the smell was cedar, and I was in a cedar closet, and this was B's mink coat that I felt. I considered banging on the door, and I thought, Betty Ann, that's not a good plan. What you want to do is you want to stall for time, because tomorrow morning, Joe's going to get up and realize you're not there. So I pulled those coats down off the hangers, and I put the mink coat on top, and I made myself a little nest. And if something bad's going to happen to me, it's going to happen to me in mink. So the next morning, Joe wakes up. I'm not there. Now you'd think maybe he would be right on the phone with the authorities, but that's not how it works in our house, because I'm known for, you know, going for a walk, outside, talking to a neighbor. Who knows where I am? I could be anywhere. And maybe I told him I was going somewhere and forgot to tell him, or he forgot to listen, or you know how that goes. So he didn't get concerned till like way after lunch. And finally called a couple people. He said, the car is here, her purse is here, her coat is here, but she's not here. Finally, he called the police late in the day, and they said, well, you have to wait 24 hours. He said, okay, call you tomorrow. Well, there I am in my second night. But see, I didn't even know it was my second night because it was pitch black in there. And I don't know what I was doing. I was making up stories to keep myself sane, which is not really, doesn't work that way. But I felt this lump, and I started reaching around, and I found in the pocket of one of those coats a half-eaten roll of Lifesavers. And let me just say that Lifesavers life save you when you're in this situation. So that was about that night, and the men never even opened the door and came after me or did anything. And sometimes I heard them out there, but nothing. So the next day, the police came in. Afterward, later, much later, my husband said, you know how they always look to the husband when the wife disappears? He said, that's true. He said, they asked me a lot of questions, and they made me feel really uncomfortable. And they said that they would start the case. But he said they really looked at me funny and I didn't, you know. And that was much later. Well, let me see. Well, I'm up to my third night. Is that right? My third night's coming up. And I am delirious. I am just delirious. I don't know it's my third night. I don't know how long I've been there. I don't know what they're going to do to me. And maybe they're not going to do anything to me. Maybe they're just going to leave me here. And all of a sudden, the closet got freezing cold. I pulled that mink coat up around me. I was shivering. And then an ice cold hand touched my face. I'm really sorry what happened to you, Betty Ann. I didn't mean it. I really didn't mean it. I was just trying to get help. B? You're dead. Yeah, I know I'm dead. But you see, nobody, when I died, nobody opened the window and let my soul out. So I'm stuck in this house. But I didn't care. I had all my things. I had my stamps and my coins and my antiques and my guns. I was happy. And then these men came and they started taking my things. And they were taking them, they packing them up and taking them out the back alley in the dead of night. And I tried to stop them. I made the house freezing cold, but they just put on more clothes. And then I flashed the lights, but they took all the light bulbs out, except for the attic. And I couldn't stop them. And I went up to the attic. There was one light bulb up there, and I did S-O-S. S-O-S. I thought somebody would come. I hoped it would be you, but I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry this happened. Oh, me. Am I dreaming? Is this really happening to me? Just don't worry, honey, don't worry. You know, pretty soon they'll steal everything and they'll go away. And then you and I, you know, nobody's going to let the window open and let your soul out either. Eventually, somebody will move in this house and we can make it cold and we can move things around and we can flash the lights, and if they have children, we can scare them. We can have fun all the time. No, B, I don't want to do that. B, you have to help me. I don't want to do that. I don't. I want to see I have my husband and my children and my grandchildren. B, I can't help you. I couldn't help myself. I tried anyway. Well, back over across the way in my house, my husband's tossing and turning, wondering when the police are going to come and take him down for questioning. And he can't sleep. And he sees blink, 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 blink. And he remembers. He remembers I told him about something going on next door. He got up and he went outside with his phone. He had called me 100 times already and had gotten nothing. But when he was outside and he called, on the last bar on my phone, it rang. He found it in the grass and he looked at the pictures on it and he called the police. And a long story short, as the police came and bombarded the place, came down and raided the basement and caught those men who were stealing everything that B owned, everything of value. And I'm still in the closet. And suddenly, the scissors lifts off the table, flies through the air, and sticks in the door of the cedar closet. And when the policeman went over to check it out, I pounded on the door with my last bit of strength. And he opened up the door, and I was so thirsty and delirious and everything. And I said, "Open the window and let her soul out."
I just gotta get out of here before the cops come.
We'll delay them if they stop by.